This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem. Baruch Mabam. We're continuing in Mishna Berura Hashavua. We're learning about borrowed tzitzis. This is very important. The Mechaber said if somebody borrows a garment that does not have tzitzis on it, you're patur from putting on tzitzis for 30 days. After 30 days, it's maras ha'ayin, so you put on midrabanan. However, that's all if you borrowed a garment. But the Mechaber says if you borrowed it already mitzuyetzes, you make a bracha on it immediately. Why? So the Mishna Berura said, some are machmir. The Mishna Berura and Sivkatan Yudav said, some are machmir, and they hold that no, don't make a bracha on it, because maybe he gave it to you as a loan. Maybe he's lending it to you. You can't make a bracha unless he gave it to you as matana menachsa hachzer. But most achroinim agreed to the Shulchan Aruch, and they hold the reason why you make a bracha on it is because if somebody gives you a talis shel mitzvah, you can assume that he's giving it to you as a matana menachsa hachzer. It's better to ask him that he give it to you explicitly as a matana menachsa hachzer. So this is a very important halacha. Let's say you're going to a shul, you don't have your talis on you, you're borrowing someone else's talis. You can't just make a bracha on it. Now, the Shulchan Aruch says you can, because we're presuming he's giving it to you as matana menachsa hachzer. But again, it would be better. It would be better to ask him to give it to you as matana menachsa hachzer and not as she'ela. Likewise, the Mishna Berura says that this halacha, that if you borrow a talis, you could assume he's giving it to you as a matana menachsa hachzer. That's only if you're putting it on for davening, because you need a talis shel mitzvah. But what if you're borrowing it to get an Aliya, or to get a psicha, or to be oila leduchin, where you're only wearing it mishum kavod? You do not make a bracha on it. You hear this? If you grab someone's talis just for a kavod, you don't make a bracha, because maybe he's just lending it to you. He's not being makneh to you. Some say, well, you make a bracha. Therefore, the Mishna Berura said that you should be mechavein, not to be koineh it. This way, you don't have to make a bracha on it l'kulei alma. But not if you're borrowing it for tefillah. If you're borrowing it l'tefillah, just the opposite. You should ask him explicitly, could I have it as matana menachsa hachzer? But if you're borrowing it for an Aliya, you should have in mind explicitly not to be koineh. However, the Mishna Berura added another important thing. This is only if you borrow an individual's talis. But the talis of the kehila, you must make a bracha on it, even if you take it for an Aliya. You hear this halacha? Mishna Berura says, if you're borrowing the shul's talis for a psicha, you're throwing it on for a psicha, you're throwing it on for a galila, you must make a bracha, and it doesn't help to be mechave, not to be koineh. It doesn't help to have that in mind. It only helps to have that in mind if the person is potentially only lending it to you and not makneh to you. But the shul of the talis, you must make a bracha. Why? Because the shul of the talis was purchased, that anyone who puts it on, it's his. Okay? So now this is not a very well observed halacha. It doesn't help to say, well, I'm only doing it for an Aliya. It doesn't matter what your kavanah is. You must make a bracha. So if I make a bracha, I have to check it. Yeah, of course you have to check it. You have to check it. You got to check it. I tircha de tzibura. Exactly. So make sure you check it fast. Now, that's why you're better off borrowing your friend's talis and having in mind not to be koineh. But it's not going to help if you borrow the shul's talis. That is the psak of the Mishna Berura. Even though, by the way, the Taz holds b'makam terchat tzibura, you don't have to check tzitzis. That's your tzitzis that you usually check. But the kehila's tzitzis, which in all probability, a very good chance it's not good. You know, the talis and the heaven shuls are often problematic. You would have to check it. So now let us see, as quickly as we can, the bir halacha. The bir halacha, the bottom bir halacha on Daf Chavav Amud Aleph. when you bar kshim tziyatses. Ayin bim the bottom bir alacha. Ayin bim Mishna Berura Seif sivkat nirav mashkasam lein talis hakol da daitach kanu kein kazav der chachayim utmihani lamat tzarch lazeh. Why do I need this? Why do I need to say that the talis of the kihila was bought, that whoever wears it, it's his? Why don't we say something else? Why don't we say, what about the fact that a talis of shutfim is chayiv in tzitzis? I see some question. I have never seen something, anyone, any country, making a bracha on a talis. Okay. So now that you know the halach, you'll be able to tell a lot of people the right thing to do. Okay. And if you get the second or third Aliya, can you rely on the previous Aliya checking it? No, because there's no way he's checking it. There's not a chance in the world that he's going to do it. How many people know this? So the fact that nobody does it is very important to know. This way you could tell people. And the fact that you can rely on... the two questions answer each other. Since nobody knows it, you can't rely on the fact that anyone's going to check it. But look in the Bir Halacha. Bir Halacha says, the answer is you've never seen anyone check it, because I'm going to tell you why. Number one, Nusach Sfar, they don't wear a talis by Mincha. Number two, Nusach Ashkenaz, they're so confused that they don't put on a talis by Mincha either, because they think you don't have to wear a talis by Mincha, even though Nusach Ashkenaz should wear a talis by Mincha. So that's why you never saw, because in almost no shuls, except for maybe some young Israels, do they wear a talis. The actual thing is, they should. Nusach Ashkenaz in yeshivas, I believe in most yeshivas they do wear a talis. For any kibud, that's minhag Ashkenaz. But anyway, the Bir Halacha says here, to mihani lama tzarach l'zeh ha'lo yirah because of the shofim. V'chini samar chabel chasitzis sim tav tav kufnon v'yoysim rizeh shamordechai kasa b'ferish d'lo yitzricha lahadikaz Rashbam b'Bava Basra. So why can't we use the svara that the reason why you're chayiv to make a bracha on the talis of the shul is because it's a talis of shutfim. Look on the second line on the next amud. He says maybe the reason why the Derech Chaim needs his reason is because sometimes the city is very big, so if there are 1,000 people in the shul and 1,000 people own the talis, then nobody owns the shavar pruta of the talis, so that would not be a reason to be mechayiv them. However, comes the Sefer Shari Ephraim, and this Rabbi Jaffa, look at this, it's very important. Over Sefer Shari Ephraim, Kasav the Yoiser Tov Likach Tal She'ula Beis Al Yosel Torah Mi Likach Tal Sakahol. You're always better off taking your next door neighbor's talis than taking the talis of the tzibur. Sheba Tal Sakahol Nichnas L'Chlal Safik Shemachil Levarich. V'im Lakach Tal Sakahol V'roitz Levarich. Yechavino Sh'roitz Levarich Shem Malbash Shel Tzitzes Yad V'rish Gemay B'Shach. Now, you'll say, I'll make a bracha. Yeah, right. You can make a bracha, you have to do an atifa. You hear this? You're going to have to put it up to your mouth, flip it behind you, whack the guy, but you have to do the whole thing. Okay? So, it's always better to take the talis of your friend, because to take the talis of the kihila, you're nichnas a suffik bracha, but if you're going to take the talis of the kahal and you want to make a bracha, you should have in mind you're wearing it l'shem malbish, you should do an atifa, you don't have to stand mutav shir hilach da'ad amos, and if you don't want to make a bracha, don't wrap your head. Just do atifas aguf. Okay, so that might be a way out of it. So you don't make an atifa, and you just do atifas aguf, and the ikar is atifas haroish. V'nosan tam ledvara ba'pischei sha'arim. He says, "Betalas hakahol yesh levarach alav k'mei betalas shel shutfim. Kamakam nira dafka k'shnat b'rosh kedarach atifas shachris." That's only if you're going to wrap your head. Habalav hachi in levarach. Av sheyesh das ksas poskim achokim alzel srilu di'itav aguf sagi. Even though some poskim hold wrapping the body is enough, mikamakam in kavanos l'sativ klau rak levishol shem shem kavod ba'alma. But you could say his kavanah is not really to wrap; it's just for kavod, like Mendy said this far yesterday. So therefore, loy it's not called asher techasaba. So the bottom line is like this, what he's saying. It's better not to get involved with the talis of the kehila. But if you need to, don't cover your head. Don't don't do an atifas harosh. Have in mind you're wearing it lilvisha ba'ama. And what if you're taking your own talis and you're in a rush? What if you're just like throwing on a talis on your shoulders for an Aliya? You're not even putting it in your head, and you're just like flying there to the Aliya like Superman. You're not even wearing it. then it's a question. Now, does the Mishna Berura like this? Nope, he doesn't. Udvarv chalushim b'miksa. It's a little bit weak. Because the haskama of the Shulchan Aruch is, what are we going to say? Oh, I'm not doing an atifa, so I don't have to make a bracha on it. Eino li kuva, and the Mishna Berura says atifa is not li kuva. And if it's your own talis and you're late and you're putting on your ksefayim, could it be you don't have to make a bracha? No, most places say you have to make a bracha. However, basically, that which you pointed out, you never saw someone make a bracha. It's really because they're not doing it correctly. Now, do they have what to rely on? Yeah, they have the Shari Ephraim to rely on, that they're not doing an atifa, and they're not wearing it l'shem atifas haguf even. They're just doing it l'kavod. And therefore they're relying on that. The Mishna Berura, the Be'er Halacha, does not like it, because you don't need atifas harosh. You don't even need atifa to begin with. But that which the Shari Ephraim says, if you want to make a bracha, you should be mechaven to wear l'shem tzitzis. That's correct, because mitzvah svichas kavana. But then he says, I found support for the Shari Ephraim. That is, the Ber Heitev brings the name of Lechem Chamudos, that if you're just wearing it, mishum kavrat tzibur, ein mevarech. Now, there it's talking about somebody who's saying Kaddish Yasaim, where he's throwing on a talis. There, the Ber Heitev brings not to make a bracha. Probably because that's not considered a levisha hachayeves b'tzitzis. The bottom line is, the best thing to do is to borrow someone else's talis. It's better not to get involved in the kihilas talis. Again, if you need the talis for shachris, let's say you forgot your talis at home, then fine, borrow the kihilas talis and make a bracha. But borrowing the kihilas talis for an Aliya is problematic. Do you have what to rely on? Yeah, the Shari Ephraim and the Ber Heitev, that if you're wearing it mishum kavod, then it could be you're not chayiv in tzitzis, and you're not making an atifa. But the Mishna Berura is definitely not thrilled with that, and he does not codify it that way in the Mishna Berura. In the Mishna Berura, he says that you should make a bracha. So that's the bottom line. The bottom line is borrow someone else's talis for an Aliya. You're stuck, and you have the kihilas talis. It seems like the best thing to do is check it and make a bracha. Is that realistic? Could be not. Does anybody do that? Not too many people. Is that the right thing to do? Yeah. Okay. We're just going to do one Mishna Berura Katan Yud Beis. Ayin Sim Tarfresh Nechas of Hela Inyan Lulav Uvipim Megadim Sham, that if you borrowed a tzitzis talis that's mitzvah, you make a bracha on immediately. If you borrow someone's talis, you must return it right away. If, let's say, the owner is walking out today, you're not going to catch him today. So you better give it to him by tomorrow. If you do not return a talis that you borrowed, and the one who gave it to you does not have another talis, then you have uprooted the matana menas lahachzir, and were not yoid say the mitzvah when you borrowed it, and you're a ganov. Besides that, you're doing good though. You're nekar the matana because he gave it to you menas lahachzir. If you didn't return it, it's not going to be good, like we say by lulav and esrei. But the guy has a talis katan. He didn't have in mind to lend it to you, that you should wear his talis gadol and he wears his talis katan. Not like the Nesef HaChaim says you can rely on the fact that not like the Nesef HaChaim says. Gam nisbar sham. It's also clear over there. When you return it, you have to give it to the owner as a gift, because otherwise it's not his. Now, why would you have to give it as a matana? He gave it to you as a matana al manas lahachzir, so I'm just returning it to you. But it seems that like by lulav and esrog, if someone gives you a lulav and esrog as a matana manas lahachzir, you must return it to them as a matana. You can't just say, oh, take your item back. Because once it becomes, see, if you get a matana al manas lahachzir, it's yours. So now that it's yours, you have to be making it back to the guy. But it's his, and he only gave it to you on condition that you give it back. Then it seems like you still have to give it to him as a matana. If you ruin the guy's talis, let's say you got sholent on it, if you did not give it back the way you got it, you don't get the mitzvah. You got to give when he gives it to you as a matana manas lahachzir, it's a manas lahachzir the way he gave it to you. Okay, Rabbi, say have an amazing day. We have a fantastic shiur tonight on the magic of the number 57. Good stuff. Also, if you want to join us at 5 p.m. for Yesod HaTshuva, you are cordially invited. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.